And this will just be a song. Oh, I love that. Sounds like reeds. Reed. Whatever they call it. He has so much red to his character. Gives me Sekiro vibes? Oh, for sure. I love how he's got the moon behind him there. His hair looks fucking sick. All black and red. His eyes aglow with blue. His voice lines are crazy too. Yeah, we're gonna watch those. We're gonna check all of it out. Yeah, dude, his theme's pretty dope. I love the wraps on his arms, dude. It's one of my favorite parts. I think this is one of the coolest looking characters in the entire game, personally. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. No, I actually have a lot more Kayle and Morgana stuff to go over. When I reacted to Kayle and Morgana, it wasn't with the same depth that I'm doing it now. It is desync. Yeah, it is. Ooh. I love that. Ugh. I love the vibe of Eastern-themed music, bro. It's part of the reason I love Mists of Pandaria so much, dude. It's so fucking sick, dude. I love the drums and the meandering, like, building and cascading fucking melody, dude. Oh, I love it, dude. It hits me. That's a fire theme, dude. Oh, the flutes. Yeah, the flutes or reeds or whatever they're playing is so fucking good.
A lot of people want me dead. They call it justice. I'm the only one who knows the truth. All I have left is the wind by my side.
Sick. You want to know something cool, chat? In this book, Realms of Runeterra, there's a scene where Yasuo visits a person that he calls Oma, who has an actual name, who is a woman who makes tea, traditional regional tea. And while he's in there, bandits show up to actually kidnap her. And she can see, even though she's blind, she can see spirit energy. And she knows, like, this ice technique that she can use to, like, freeze people and shit. And there's a battle where she and Yasuo go against these fucking bandits and, like, fuck them up, dude. It's fucking sick, dude. It is fucking sick. The way that it describes Yasuo moving is so fucking badass. Like, he just moves like... He's like the wind. Like... It's so badass, man. I have to read it to you guys at some point. I know I keep saying that about this book. The short stories in here are fucking awesome. It just, it makes me think of it seeing this setting almost like he's outside of her little tea hut, and these are like the bandits that came to take her away. It just kind of reminded me of that. I love that, dude. Like the wind. Ooh. Ooh. Now they're just showing off. It's such a beautiful contrast to Yasuo as well because he holds such turmoil inside. You know? He's so troubled and burdened by the guilt and shame and kind of a wanderer, you know? So it's interesting that, you know, he puts off this outward like wind vibe, but inside he is like a storm. It's so cool, dude. Oh, Yasuo is so cool. And I remember seeing this earlier, but I didn't have any context at all, so I didn't really react to it at all. So this is Yone after he's died, then, in the spirit realm. After his battle with Yasuo, or whatever. Good old spirit fox. Conmay of some kind, or is that supposed to be, like... Is that Ari? Same as those masks that the kids were wearing. That they were wearing. Oh yeah, like a shadowy side. Oh, like opens its eyes and looks at him. Oh, whoa, there's Kindred. Yo! Nice. It's so beautiful. I'll go back and look at different frames after I watch the whole thing. Oh. Nice chains as well. You can hear the sound of the swords clattering, like him being haunted by his past. It's pretty dark in here. That's him. Oh, swallowed by darkness.
You could have saved them.
Regret and rage, bro. Oh my god. And a beautiful illustration of how that kind of feeds the demon. Mirroring him. Yeah, and it's got that same look as those other ones in the Yunara cinematic. Yo. That is fucking tight. Oh, it's got the sword. Having a literal duel with the demon, dude. Holy shit. Oh, now he's got the sword. Fuck yeah. Dude, Yone and Yasuo are so fucking sick, dude. We can't outrun those demons. Even in defeat. Yeah, dude, he's fucking sick. Yone's fucking sick. He looks so cool, dude. So to go back through this a little bit, coming in the Spirit Realm, swords are gone. He reaches for his sword, obviously, in the panic of the moment, as a result of what he just came from, I would assume. Looks like water lapping up on the shores. He's like on a beach, which I think makes sense, given I think what we see in Kin of the Same Blade from the little shots that I saw. Now, whether that's really Ari or not, you know, who knows? What a beautiful, like, spirit tree. Like, that's like world tree type shit. And what I really like about this sequence of shots is it shows the duality of the spirit realm very well. The wind blows by him. He hears, like, whispers. Like, little fragments, whispers from his life. Yeah, it is a nine-tailed fox, yeah. So this is, like, obviously a more shadowy rendition. Some kind of scaled, perhaps even, like, mermaid-esque serpentine kind of Kanmei spirit or something. The shadow creeping down over the stonework is really interesting. Cassiopeia? Yeah? These spirits look like they're venerating her. Some look like they're begging her. The Temptress. That's her spirit blossom skin? That makes sense. I like how it opens its eyes and looks at her. I like how in this shot, you have the souls, well, what appear to be souls, you know, bodies, grown inside the trees. Perhaps kind of illustrating how, like, the souls of the fallen, I wonder if that is kind of an illustration that, like, they kind of feed this realm to some degree. They merge with it, become one. You can kind of see these little pink sprites coming off of their foreheads, actually. Almost like there's, like, it's like the spirit is coming out of their body. I don't know if that's a result of Yone walking by or... And yeah, that is definitely Ionian wolf. Which is fucking sick, dude. Very cool. Which, you know, you don't see lamb. So I wonder if that's symbolic of Yone, what's going to happen, right? He ends up kind of resisting the fate, right? That's probably symbolic of Yone. His death would be more akin to being chased by wolf. Oh, those people look like stone and stuff because Cassiopeia petrifies people. That's a really good point. Yeah, like Medusa. The wolf smiling, knowing what will happen. Yeah, dude, I love that. I love how you can see the body, like, cradling the land. And I don't know if those are horns or what that's meant to look like. It almost looks like something fractured floating in the air there. It's beautiful. And in this shot, you can really see, like, the duality of, like, the light and the pinks and the greens contrasted with the darker side and the blues and the grays and stuff. That's Lilia. Oh, so that's why she has, like, little dryad horns or something? Oh, yeah, so that's just her... Yeah, that's... I see. Yeah, it becomes more clear when you look at it that way. Yeah, okay. Look how he's kind of following this spirit, guiding him along. And at the top of this staircase here, which has what look like to be maybe almost panda-looking yordles, some of which are playing instruments and stuff, leading up to this beautiful golden fucking spirit tree. Seemingly, you know, where it's Teemo's spirit? Yeah, I guess it is, huh? Fucking Teemo! Get the fuck out of here, Teemo! Get the fuck out of here! No one needs your bullshit here! Satan's blowpipe. So kind of the final destination. But before they get there, Yone is distracted by another path. And this is called The Path, so that makes sense. I like how there's these, like, braided chain-esque looking things here on this gate. How would you guys describe this gate? Is there, like, a name for this kind of thing? That's Thresh's lantern, is it? Oh, so again, it's these things are hinting at skins. It's like kind of like a torii gate, Shinto torii gate. Is there a significance to that? Are the torii gates, are they supposed to be like doorways to the spirit world? or something? Do they have like a symbolic meaning? They mark the boundary between life and death. There you go. There you go. It's a traditional Japanese gateway most commonly found at the entrance of or within a Shinto shrine. It symbolizes the transition from the mundane world to the sacred realm of the kami, spirits or gods. Very cool. And again, here's that kind of breeze with those pink petals, which is something you see more in the material realm, generally. But that could be a false assertion on my part. The whispers distracting him. He's hearing the sounds of the battle, the swords clanging and all that stuff, so he's drawn to it, drawn to the trauma, drawn to the confusion. And this wolf is obviously, or this fox is obviously not too pleased about that, knowing that darkness lies over there. So this is like, it's a really cool kind of show of how, like, demons are also from the spirit realm, a spiritual kind of thing born out of there, similar to Yordles. At least that's what we are apparently know right now. Or his instinct kicks in that he wants to help / protect. Probably, yeah, that makes sense. Regardless, he's being drawn that way from the experiences of his past life. Choosing to go that direction instead, finding himself in the darkness. And then I feel that most of the rest is relatively self-explanatory. Final gust through. And it's interesting that the pink blossoms manifest as Yasuo, because Yasuo's still alive, evidently. Rather than like the black blossoms and stuff that you would see with like Yunara. Seeing his reflection in the blades is... yeah, that's pretty cool. I believe that's a part of Spirit Blossom Ari's story. She can only lead and cannot intervene when a spirit wanders from the path. She can only watch them walk into their damnation. Oof. No peace in death. Yeah, the red perhaps depicting the violence. I noticed a lot of red color starts springing up the more the demon takes screen time, for sure. Very sad.
You could have saved them.
So fucked up. And I think it's also interesting because it seems to imply that, like, the energy, the rage, the suffering that's manifesting out of Yone is literally what, like, creates this Azakana. Like, it's Yone's kind of metaphorical and, to a degree, literal, like, demon within that is, like, manifesting out of his fucking torment. Which is why I make the argument that, like, the way that demons are alleged to have been created in Runeterra is a little bit sus to me, because it seems like they're a product of humanity. Yeah, what Swain with Rom, shaped by humanity, a reflection. Exactly what you said. And you can see it rippling through the water. The voice saying you could have saved them is him. Exactly. It's his own regret and rage. So sick, dude. God, that's such a fucking dope shot with the music too, dude. Oh, that's so tight. Oh yeah, dude. Dispelling away the shadows and like giving rise to a gigantic, like, monolithic rendition of his suffering, dude. It's so fucking cool. Oh, it's so cool, dude. And the way that the demon like towers over him with its black robe is fucking tight, dude. Oh my god, it's so cool. There you see a lot more of that red. Yeah. And I love how their movements and cuts, it's almost like they are fighting on what appears to be like pink and like red sand. And as they swipe, it's like cutting swaths in the sand that are, I don't know, that's such a beautiful like way to illustrate that. The black and gold contrasted so nicely, but it's almost like the sand is covering up something else. Yeah, like they're ripping like parts of the like rending holes in the world. It could be petals. Yeah, it might not be sand. It's probably flower petals. You're right. It probably is that. The fight also resembles the fight with his brother in the moves, but Yone knows how to beat the demon in the way he didn't with Yasuo. That's pretty tight. That's pretty sick. It almost does look like a wood grain. Yeah. Breaks the one sword. Not gonna need that. And he gets its sword, bro. And now he's fucking juiced. And you see the spirit energy that he's utilizing in this case is blue and like purple. And when he like, I mean, this is probably a skin reflection, obviously, but his soul, his determination and spirit is basically binding with and overtaking the energy in the dark sword. It does look a little too grainy for petals. I think it is sand. Yeah. It's interesting because like in this, conviction and will once again overcoming the demon within. And you can see his arm is all juiced up too. But again, it's his Spirit Blossom skin. Blue is Spirit Blossom. I understand that. The blue and the pink and all. Yep, I hear you. And his eyes, I'm pretty sure, are different colors then as well too. That's a nice shot. Rending it in twain. And I love how it has the blue in the middle of it once he does that. But even as it fades, they now become one. It reminds me a little bit of like the Varys thing. But the whole like Yone merging with his demon is pretty fucking sick, dude. Yeah. So he comes back defying the fate with the huge fucking backdrop of the moon. Again, the moon being pretty hard linked to spirits and the ethereal and the non-physical. Now that Yone is literally bound with a spiritual entity born of his own emotions, dude. It's pretty cool, but like it's also kind of like I could definitely see it as like a curse, right? Going off the path, but yeah. Very cool. Yeah, that's a fucking banger cinematic, dude. I'm glad I decided to come back to these later. I think it's a WoW thing, both of you coming from WoW. Well, it's because in order to understand anything in World of Warcraft, you have to go on a fucking 3-hour rant to explain it. That's why. And here we go.
So, right after I released our look at the newest cinematic about Yone and Yasuo, Riot actually released Yone's bio. And with it, we finally learned what's happening with him, what's the deal with the white-haired guy who's not Yone in the Path animated trailer, and why were we able to get Yone as a champion in the first place. So without further ado, let's have a look at his bio.
Bio and short story. Cool.
Yone was a man who always strictly followed the codes of honor and duty. Even as a child, he loved his family dearly, which is why it was hard for him when he lost his father. Naturally, this is what motivated him to assume the role of the family's protector.
And look over Yasuo.
To make sure the other members of their family wouldn't have to suffer. But just like Yone was patient and disciplined, his half-brother Yasuo was brash and reckless. Yasuo is only Yone's half-brother because he was born after his mother was already a widow. One year during autumn, A mysterious man who became Yasuo's father arrived in their village, but just like that lonely season, he was quickly gone again, even before winter arrived to Ionia. So, to this day, we still don't know who is Yasuo's father. We just know that that man is still probably somewhere in the world. Anyway, although the two half-brothers were in contrast to each other, with Yone being patient and Yasuo reckless, the two were inseparable. And when Yone began his studies at the sword school near their village...
You want to know what also is really cool for me about this? That they're half-brothers? Is that my older brother is my half-brother as well. He has a different dad from before my mom and my father met. Just another kind of similarity there. As the older brother, Yone has a different father. Yeah, I would be Yasuo. Imagine the hot-headed one.
To become a swordsman, young Yasuo followed him. At first, only Yone was let in, but Yasuo waited outside the school, in the rain, long enough to show everyone his determination, which made the teachers open the gates for him too. As they trained, Yone was often forced to hold Yasuo's impulsiveness back. Yasuo was naturally gifted to become a swordsman. In fact, he was so good at it, it not only annoyed the other students, but it also drew the attention of Elder Suma, the last master of the legendary wind technique. The old man saw Yasuo's potential. However, being reckless once again, Yasuo refused to become the Elder's pupil.
Oh my god, dude. It's just like Illidan and Malfurion and the whole first druid thing. Holy shit. What the fuck? You're not ready. You're not disciplined enough. That's why your brother Malfurion will be my student. Not you, Illidan. It's not just like it, but it rings similar vibes. And Yasuo's demon Yone defeats has the mask of petty jealousy because he was jealous of Yone. Yes, which further proves that the Azakana is in fact Yasuo's demon.
And so, standing up as the protector and making sure his brother stays on the right path, Yone pleaded with Yasuo to set aside his arrogance, and he gifted him a maple seed, which was not only a sign of his support, but at their school, it was the highest lesson in humility. And it is this tradition of passing on maple seeds that probably leads to the old legend about the two swordsman brothers, and their sapling swords that grew from these seeds. This part where Yone gave Yasuo a seed was explained more in the short story called A Sword Without a Sheath. So here's a direct quote from it from Yone's point of view. When I watched my young brother begin training, he breathed life into the blade at first touch. One heard whispers in the halls comparing him to the sword masters of old. But as Yasuo grew and his skills increased, so did his ego. He was impetuous and boastful. He ignored our master's lessons and knew nothing of patience. Fearing my brother had stayed too far from the way, I went not to warn him, but to make an appeal to his honor. I gave him a maple seed, our school's highest lesson in humility. A seed is just a seed, but given time, one may come to know the beauty it holds within. Yasuo took my gift, and the following day he pledged himself to Elder Suma. So that is how Yasuo became Suma's apprentice, and his personal guard.
Very cool.
Yone was proud of his brother, but
Hell
he had
yeah.
doubts about Suma's judgment, fearing that Yasuo's impulsive nature would make him a poor student. But Elder Suma was well respected, and did not make careless decisions. So instead of worrying about it, Yone decided to focus on practicing with dual blades. Soon, Yone himself became powerful and respected swordsman, and though his skill was unmatched, when he sparred against Yasuo, who was learning how to wield the wind technique, their fights were a sight to behold, that brought joy to the two brothers themselves.
I also love how in this clash of swords, you're able to see through the reflection on the blades, Yasuo's eyes meeting his brother's. It's such a sick way of like showing the locking of the eyes and like how intense the duel is by using like the reflection of the blades. I just think that's really cool artistic touch.
But this joy quickly faded when war came to Ionia. Yone, together with many other disciples, left to defend against the approaching Noxian forces. while Yasuo, who also wanted to go out and fight, was ordered to stay behind to protect his master. But one fateful night, Elder Suma was discovered dead, slain by the wind technique which he taught others. Of course, we know that Elder Suma died after Riven walked into his temple, and she asked him if he could cleanse her sword of the Noxian runic magic. But when Elder Suma tried to help her using the wind, the blade shattered, and one of its shards killed him. And the reason why Yasuo wasn't there to help was because Yasuo disobeyed his orders, and he left the Elder to help fight the invading Noxians. But of course, nobody in the school knew about what happened to the Elder, or why was Yasuo gone. And since there was evidence in the wind technique being involved in this, that's the reason why everyone was suspicious of Yasuo. Anyway, when Yone returned from the battle, he found that Yasuo had fled. This shook Yone to his core, because his fears were proven true. Elder Suma had been wrong, and so Yone started blaming himself. If Yasuo had murdered Suma, Yone had failed to teach him the righteous path. If Yasuo had simply abandoned his post and allowed his master to die, then Yone had failed to instill him with discipline. Either way, Yasuo had already killed several of those who pursued him, even if it was in self-defense, and to Yone, their blood stained his own hands as much as his brothers. The story doesn't mention this, but it was about this time when one of the Azakana attached to Yone. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, the Azakana are the minor versions of demons. They are little spiritual parasites that feed on negative emotions. And after they consume enough emotions, that's when they grow up into proper demons. These days they are polluting the entire Ionia, because after the Noxian invasion, the land had been consumed by war and negativity. And since during this war the dead are not being properly buried, and the Azakana can easily reach them, the entire continent became a place for the Azakana to grow. So just know that after Elder Suma died, one of the Azakana attached to Yone, feeding on his self-doubt. After this, Yone tracked Yasuo down.
This is another interpretation that I don't agree with, and perhaps I am lacking information. Necrit talks about Azakana like they're an external thing that finds and latches onto someone. Maybe that is the case. My interpretation is more, especially that the people in Ionia are very spiritual and connected with the land and nature, that it is their own manifestation. The Azakana, in my opinion, didn't come and find Yasuo. It came from within. Same with Yone's. That's the way I see it. Because I believe these demons are manifestations of their own grief. That's just the way that I see this, though.
Down himself. When their swords finally crossed, Yone's steel was unmatched. But Yasuo's mastery of the wind cut his brother down.
Now, I will say this. If you lose to your Azakana, that spiritual side of you can probably take over, dominate, become a more powerful entity, and then become latching onto and feeding on other things at a greater level, right? But yeah. Your personal demonic parasite designed just for you because it is you. Yeah. It's your trauma and grief manifesting through spiritual energy.
No murderer. Then why are you running?
Death, however, was not the end. When Yone awoke within the spirit realm, the weight of his failure crushed him. His fury flared and he pounded his fists on the ground in rage. Here, I have to point out that although the story here is pretty much retelling what we have seen in the Path animated trailer, the man we see there is not Yone. Okay? We explained this in the video we made on that cinematic. So once again, this is not Yone.
I guess you could say that the demon you manifested can be made physical once that demon wins and takes you over and you literally become the demon. That is how I would look at that, yes. The demon wins. You lose the battle against the demon within, and you effectively, through spiritual energy, become a fucking demon. That's how I would look at that, yes.
This was confirmed numerous times by the writers themselves. I know this may be confusing, but that cinematic is showing us what someone would picture in their head if someone was telling them the story. A good example of how this cinematic works is Robin Hood. Sure, maybe Robin Hood didn't split his own arrows, and maybe he didn't shoot apples off of people's heads, but apparently Robin Hood was still a real man. So the legend is only a story that leads to the truth. Here, because the elder brother from the legend suffered a very similar fate to Yone, Riot used the cinematic to not only tie the animation to Yone, but they also gave the old legend deeper meaning. So, should you want to, you could technically imagine this guy as Yone and the cinematic would be canon. But in case someone thinks that this is Yone, feel free to correct them, so you can look like the smart person. Anyway, back to the story. Just pay attention to the fact that there will be minor differences in the cinematic.
Look, I've been there. I can't judge him. I've been there. It's whatever.
When Yone awoke within the spirit realm, the weight of his failure crushed him. His fury flared and he pounded his fist on the ground in rage. A rumbling laugh pierced his thoughts. He turned and beheld a monstrous humanoid spirit with blood-red blade. It was a powerful Azakana, a predatory entity that had long stalked Yone from beyond the veil. Before Yone could speak, it struck. He drew the spiritual echoes of his blades to his side, just in time to block the attack. He once again found himself in a duel, where his swordsmanship was unparalleled, but he was overwhelmed by magic. Anger consumed him. A life of honor and duty snapped. In one furious moment, Yone wrestled the Azakana's blade from it and ran the creature through. The last thing he heard before new darkness was the same rumbling laughter. The next time he opened his eyes, Yone found himself back in the material realm, though it was a grim shadow of what it had been. Once again, the story doesn't mention this, but from the interactions with the spirits in the client, we know that time moves slower inside the spirit realm. So the reason why Yone sees Ionia differently now was because years passed outside while he was fighting with the Azakana. Anyway, he struggled to his feet, the spirit realm hazy in his mind, and blood-red sword in his hand. His face was now covered by a mask which he could not remove, because the mask was the new form of the Azakana he had just defeated. But although this Azakana in the form of a mask has no influence over Yone's body, it still gave him some of its powers. And so, with this mask, Yone has the ability to see other Azakana. This gave him the chance to not only fight these minor demons, but to also learn about them. And in fact, Yone found out that once he learned the Azakana's true name, he could seal them in masks that represented specific emotions. However, he's not sure if these masks hold the Azakana permanently. And when it comes to his own mask, Yone can't tell if or when the Azakana he wears would reawaken to consume him. In life, Yone had worn the mask of protector, brother, and disciple for so long that it had become his identity. But now, in moments of stillness, he swears he can feel the mask shifting upon his face, with his own past and unresolved conflict with Yasuo becoming child's play in comparison to this new threat. So Yone now hunts these Azakana in an attempt to understand what he has become, with each name bringing him a step closer to learning about the thing whose laughter still haunts him. Nothing else matters. There is only the chase of the truth.
Yep, and that's essentially what like introspective storytelling is. It's a narrative about Yone discovering more about himself. It's about self-discovery, understanding your inner demons, what they mean, why you are that way. What is it meant to teach you?
And perhaps, once he learns the true name of his own Azakana, he could become free of it too. And that was the story of Yone. Riot very specifically avoided explaining why or how Yone was able to come back. That's because this mystery is the point of his entire lore. Yone is now on a quest to learn about the Azakana, how they work, and how to get rid of them, especially the one that's permanently attached to his face. But I just quickly want to mention that since the Azakana are just the smallest demons we can find at the bottom of the demonic compendium, this means that as Yone learns more about them, perhaps he will cross some of the other demons we know. And who knows, this could lead to meeting the ruler without the crown.
Sure. Yeah, good video. We have different interpretations, but that's how speculation works.